Today it's my second day in Copenhagen. I'm staying at Next House Hostel and visiting for the Christmas markets. I'll be heading out to Nyhavn to see the famous riverside townhouses, before going on to see one of the city's most iconic landmarks, the Little Mermaid statue. Join me as I walk across Copenhagen and discover completely by chance the Danish Parliament building. And yes, I got really wet today as it pretty much rained from start to finish. Let's get going and start our second day in the Danish capital. So good morning from Copenhagen. Beautiful morning in the city this morning. We're going to go for a walk to one of the most famous tourist areas with lots of colourful houses. Come along with us and see what's there. The first place we were heading to was the popular Nyhavn area, but rather than take public transport, it's always more fun to walk when visiting a new place. So this is a nice part of the city. This is a canal network and loads of boats here, some of them obviously prepared for winter, and there's some really huge ones down the bottom here, so let's walk down here and see what they look like. So I'm assuming these still do go out on the water, but they do look well weathered, don't they? And I suppose if you're in this climate all the time and surviving these winters, it will take its toll eventually. Okay. I wonder if these are people's houses, because actually if you look there, it has a numbered post box as well. So whether these are just permanently kind of here, I don't know. So we're here in Slotsholmen. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, which is where the Danish Parliament is housed, and also the Prime Minister's office, so obviously a really important area. Yes, we didn't realise this area was probably quite significant. So this is the area of Copenhagen where you've got the Danish Parliament and also lots of other important ceremonial buildings. So it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of it is open to the public, but it's nice to walk around it, and some of the buildings here are clearly very, very old. So this is where I think is the Danish Parliament building, this big building on the left here, and there's a queue down at the bottom there, whether that's for some kind of tour or service, I don't know. That's pretty spectacular, isn't it? So right behind us is the Danish Parliament building, known as Christiansborg Palace. Really popular tourist destination, I think, here in Copenhagen. We've not got time to go there today. There's lots of people already queuing for their time to go and have a look around inside. Christiansborg Palace is a palace and government building. It's the seat of the Danish Parliament, the Prime Minister's office and the Supreme Court of Denmark. Several parts of the palace are also used by the Danish monarch, including the royal reception rooms, the palace chapel and the royal stables. We kept walking as we wanted to see Nyhavn, a 17th century waterfront, canal and entertainment district that's really popular with visitors. It's famous for its brightly coloured 17th and early 18th century townhouses and bars, cafes and restaurants. The canal harbours many historic wooden ships. So it's not hard to see why this is one of the most famous places in Copenhagen. It's beautiful. We carried on walking as the weather was taking a turn for the worse, and we still had around 30 minutes ahead of us. So we've left the colourful houses and the beautiful canal side setting and now heading to one of Copenhagen's most popular family attractions. The Little Mermaid statue is about a 25-minute walk from where we are, but we've got 3 or 4 hours before we need to catch the plane home, so why not use some of the time and take a walk out to have a look at it. It's a really easy walk to the edge of the city, and on a nicer day I'd have probably taken it a little slower and enjoyed more of the sights along the way.
I don't know whether this is just arrived or just going. There's a bit of activity around it, so. And actually, looking at the flag on the front, this is actually a German ship, I think. I don't think this is a Danish boat at all. There's a Danish flag in the middle, that looks like a German flag at the front, so I'm not sure. There's Saxon. So this is quite a nice area down here. You can see there's little supermarkets and gourmet food places. I guess in summer this is really busy. Lots of outdoor places to eat and drink, and you can have a beer next to a German warship. There you go. So we're now about halfway to the Little Mermaid statue. It started to rain again, which is a real shame, and the temperature's dropped quite a bit, but we're nearly there, so I'm going to press on and go and see it. We haven't come all this way for nothing. One way you can always tell where the popular tourist attractions are is as you get nearer, just look out for the massive group of people all standing in one spot.
The Little Mermaid statue in Copenhagen is inspired by a famous fairy tale and has been a symbol of the city since it was unveiled in 1913.
And here we are, you can see all the people on the side of the river here with the Little Mermaid statue perched on the side. And apparently, I was reading last night, it's been subject to vandalism, so it's had its head cut off I think once, maybe its arms cut off, but obviously quite an important attraction for the city, so they keep on restoring it and putting it back to how it was, which is great.
Standing just over a metre tall, the statue sits on a rock at the harbour and attracts visitors from all around the world. It's faced vandalism and protests over the years, but remains an iconic tourist attraction and a proud emblem of Copenhagen.
So that was well worth coming to, really interesting, quite busy, pouring with rain, but I'm glad we made the journey. So walking back now from the Little Mermaid, and the weather's taken a real turn for the worse. It's freezing and it's absolutely pouring down with rain, so trying to get going as quickly as possible really. But stumbled across this absolutely beautiful area of Copenhagen, which is obviously something to do with the royal family, I would imagine, because there are ceremonial guards on all of the doors, very similar to what you'd see at Buckingham Palace in London. And we're just going to head back into the city now and hopefully try and find a nice warm cafe for a hot chocolate and to dry out. So there we have it from a wet and cold Copenhagen. Heading back now to the hotel to warm up. It's been a brilliant couple of days. We'll be heading back to the airport later on before catching the flight home. Thanks very much for joining me on this video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this bit of Denmark with me, and I'll see you in the next one.